Hi guys, it's Ashley. I will be reading off my computer because this is a complex and sensitive situation and I want to make sure that my words are chosen carefully. I know people are already getting ready to clip this and analyze my behavior, but I want to say that I am not sitting here trying to act in any certain way to persuade your opinion at all. Also, keep in mind that I do need to change the wordings of certain things or be careful with what I say because of guidelines. My intention with this video is not to victimize myself, minimize my actions, pass blame, or gain sympathy from the public. My intention with this video is only to try to help. Before listening to the rest of this, I ask you to keep an open mind and understand that everyone involved is a human being who does not just exist on your phone. I also ask that you keep in mind majority of us, including myself, are still minors. A lot of people were complaining as to why I haven't said anything online about the allegations being made against me, and there were multiple reasons for this. I wanted to handle this situation maturely and deal with it how it should be dealt with offline. Also, I was off my phone for a while because I was inpatient at rehab, which is something that I had to push to get myself into. I wanted to make sure that enough changes had been made to ensure that I don't fall back into old habits or that all of this was for nothing, before speaking publicly about anything. The situation is heavily layered and unfortunately was being treated only as a way to gain clout or hop on a trend rather than being handled for what it really was. Many inaccurate terms are being thrown around to describe events that do not live up to such titles. I am not about to sit here on video and disprove the many people who have just blatantly lied on my name in order to gain clout. Although I haven't seen every single thing posted about me, I have seen names of people who I've never met claiming that they are a victim of me. I ask you guys not to believe every single thing that you see online because unfortunately the truth is often the least popular narrative, and the things that people will do for likes is insane. I do have information such as screenshots, voice memos, and documents that I could share to clear my name for many and multiple of the allegations made against me, and it would help clear the air through different fabricated stories and lies. To do so, sharing this information would require me to publicly post about the actions of other minors involved in these situations. I hesitate to do that because my intention with this video is not to bring any of the public harassment in which I or anyone related to me has received in the past month onto other people. Also, unfortunately, a lot of this has become he said, she said situations where people saw how much attention the original creator got and decided to make up or twist their own stories to gain attention. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely have considered a version of this where I dragged everyone down with me and called them out for the misinformation they spread. I know that this is probably a version that the internet would like better because you guys are fiending for answers. But I'm dealing with something so sensitive, it felt only right for at least one person in the situation to care more about the reality of it rather than the appeal of the internet. I want to do the right thing starting now, even if it's at the expense of myself. I will, however, point out a couple of the lies that I think will cause the least amount of harm to other people involved in this because I do not wish for this to be a continuous chain of posting back and forth videos about it. But I do, however, need to protect myself. Claiming that I am some longtime villain and mastermind who only made her platform to make victims is incredibly inaccurate and takes away the reality of any situations. Unfortunately, the truth is I was in a serious problem for the majority of this year. There were many instances in which professionals tried to get the people who cared for me to take action, but no such action was pursued. I had gotten to the point where I was drinking water, and taking substances someone handed me every single day. My intentions weren't to have fun, they were to be unborn, let's say, guidelines. I've spent the majority of this year living in a constant state of paranoia and mania because of how much pressure my job and the side effects of overusing my medication had gotten to me. I have been living in an altered state of reality for far too long, which affected not only my safety, but the safety of people around me. I started being unable to remember things or partake in any basic function way back in May, and I'm pretty sure I started using back in February, if not then it was early March. Many days early in this year, I would sit on the floor of my kitchen completely alone, but surrounded by people who were in my head. I would be absolutely terrified, so I would call a friend and I would ask them to hang out because I was so scared of being on my own. I would jokingly say that my friends were babysitting me because, quite frankly, what I needed at the time was a parent. I told a lot of the people around me about how bad my hallucinations and the voices were getting. I was very open online with how little I could sleep, but because I had chosen to surround myself with other people who used or people who did not care for my safety at all, I carried on in this state. There were multiple professionals who tried to get my parent to step it up and help me. After my attempt back in April, which if you know me as a person, you would know how against my character that is, I was begged to go to the ER and be admitted to a psych ward. But obviously that didn't happen because in most cases, social media came first. I regret the decisions I made that allowed myself to get into such a dark space. I wish I could explain how I existed in such a state for so long. I would like to mention, though, that the way people are depicting the series of events are inaccurate and dramatized simply for the appeal of shock factor and extra clicks. I apologize that I decided to take too many things, and I apologize for making anybody uncomfortable. But when you start exaggerating or changing details of the events that occurred to make yourself look better or run from your own bad decisions, that is where I lack sympathy for you. I'm going to clear up a couple of the lies. To start, I never forced anybody or lied about what substance I was giving someone, and I never actually gave out my prescribed medication to anyone. I have also never taken legal action against anyone. After my most recent breakup, I was issued a cease and desist order, which I have the documentation and proof of, so I'm unable to talk about any of those things. I don't know why people who I cared for and trusted would lie so directly online, but I think that switching up details helps this storyline about my character that they are creating. I wish that during the end of the relationship I wasn't using, but I can never undo that. To this person, I apologize. I seriously do for sharing so much of our relationship online, and I do take full responsibility for that. Another thing that I want to bring up is one of the people who is claiming to be a victim of me, who's lying like many others. I have screenshots and messages of her admitting that she liked me. We used to be friends, but I stopped talking to her because it made me uncomfortable when she admitted that she liked me. She was 20 and I was 71, flip it around. I bring this up because this is something that the other people who have released story times upon me know for a fact happened, and they support her. This proves that they do not care about the legitimacy of any stories, just as long as they further drag my name down. Also, another creator claims that I paid a certain amount of money to ban their account, and this is something that made a lot of people upset, to which I would like to say I have never paid to ban this creator's account. My manager has even said that he acknowledged that the ban was not because of me, but because he was getting clout off the situation, he was going to continue pretending that it was. Certain people were also willing to lie about things that have happened because they share guilt. They used me as a way to dodge their own mistakes. I'll give an example. One individual is claiming that all the flirting was on my side and they wouldn't do anything because they have a girlfriend. I hate to admit this, and I do apologize for getting with someone who is single, but this person had, in their own words, quote, happily gotten with me while being involved with their current partner. But when this event occurred, I was not in a clear state of mind, and I do apologize for my part in that. I made the mistake of surrounding myself with too many people who only cared about likes and monies. I have also been told directly by someone that one person who is very vocal against me online came to them and asked them to make a story about me and lie about a certain situation. Thankfully, this person came to me and said this person had asked them to lie and that they wouldn't do that to me. To this person, thank you so much for choosing honesty over clout. Unfortunately, majority of the people in my life who were my only friends, who were only my friend if it meant to gain online attention. I would also like to say that I have taken accountability for the people that I did hurt, who I was able to contact. These apologies were made before anything was even brought online, which I do have messages and proof of if I need to show those, but I do need to remind you guys that it is illegal to post private conversations online, which is why I'm being so careful with what I show you guys. But this story that they've created about simply wanting an apology or to get justice is not the case at all. They used my mistakes as a way to get clicks while simultaneously turning very serious topics into jokes. I unfortunately am going to have to make a second video with this, which I didn't want to drag the situation on, but I have a couple more things that I would like to say. So I will make another video. I'm sorry that I have to make a second video about this, but this is a very serious topic and I want to get bulk of what I want to say out in one go. So I'm going to continue reading what I wrote. I do not have to apologize to the entire internet for allegations on my name that don't have proof, but what I do owe you guys an apology for is how I let myself turn into someone that I have been very against. I'm sorry for the bad decisions I made and the kind of content I started pushing out while struggling with addiction. I never intended to be famous in the first place. When I started this account, I was 41, flip it around. I was a 41, flip it around, year old girl who posted videos about her own mental health journey and realized that through this app, I was able to reach and help other people just like me. I wish every day that I never started using substances, but substances aren't the only thing to blame in this situation. Growing up, my boundaries were never respected, and thus, I was never taught to set boundaries for people or for the internet. As a 61, flip it around, 61-year-old girl, I started sharing every detail of my life with everyone online. From the second I woke up to the second I went to sleep, and I was never told that that was wrong. I do apologize for not knowing or doing better. My mental health, physical health, schoolwork, personal life, friends, and everything was set aside at the expense of content creation. I am sorry for all the people in my life which I overshared online. Posting on TikTok saved my life at first. I had built a community of support and a place where I could fall back to when things in the real world were too difficult. Along the way, an agency reached out to make money, and this is when people in my life became very involved in my account. Suddenly, it didn't matter if I had homework or if I wanted to hang out with my friends because I had an ad to film or TikToks to film. Sophomore year was when I started Snapchat, in which I had to post 100 to 200 times a day, every day, for 6 months. This was where I started having bad episodes of derealization and dissociation constantly. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. But obviously, no therapy was given to me because that would just stress me out worse, giving me less time to film videos. I am not trying to blame the people around me or victimize myself in this situation. I am simply trying to give you guys some perspective as to how or why things got this bad. I take full responsibility for the fact that I didn't speak up or get help for myself sooner, and I apologize for everything that I decided to put in my body and how my actions hurt others. There were adults around me that should have made responsible decisions, but there were so many decisions that I should have made to help myself. I didn't realize how serious the effects of shoving everything aside for the internet had had on me, and I didn't realize that wasn't normal because I had started to only become friends with other kids who shared the same job. While in rehab, it was my first time having space from social media and my phone since the 2nd grade. I didn't have to work a job for the first day in years. It took multiple adults and helpers in that facility to realize that as a 71-year-old, it shouldn't have been my responsibility to worry about supporting myself or my family at certain times. I sacrificed my high school years to bring joy to people online. If I missed even one day of posting, I would come back on my phone with thousands of messages of people asking why I didn't post that much that day. A lot of you guys have been DMing me saying that you miss my content or asking when I'm going to post again, and my answer to that is to be determined. I genuinely do have a passion for helping people, and I do love creating videos, so I will probably keep making content, but not to the same extent as before. Having to post the amount that I did every day made me feel trapped, and I quite literally went insane. I think I need to take more time to continue working on myself and changing things in my life before even worrying about the online stuff. I am finally getting the mental help that I have been needing that has been put off for so long. Also, I would like to say that I could care less about the amount of followers or likes or attention or whatever, because that's never been about what content creating was for me. A lot of these people who have posted, mind you, many videos of this situation on multiple platforms like to claim that I'm the type of person who only cares about the money and likes, but I ask you guys to see past these words and look at the actions of these people. I could have very easily turned this situation to be used for clout or profit, but that's not what I wish to do, especially with something so serious at all. If you don't want to see my face or hear from me again, that is completely okay. Please block my account and save both yourself and I the trouble. But for the people who genuinely enjoyed my content, especially the kind I made back in 2022 and 2023, I will keep making it for you guys. But I am going to set boundaries with sharing everything, because sharing everything about your life online is not an okay thing to do. One thing I would also like to clarify right now is that I have yet to be posting anything since these allegations have came out. So any account that's pretending to be me or making statements about the situation is not true. I also am not communicating with anyone in my personal life about things involved with the situation. So anyone claiming that they have information or that they're in contact with me, they're just simply seeking attention. I ask you guys, please do not buy into every single loop that you see online. The day I got canceled was the first day this year that I had looked up from my phone, and while my entire life was falling apart around me, I turned off my phone and made eye contact with people for the first time. I think that there are many lessons to be learned from all of this. I genuinely have not been online very much since going to rehab, and I'm not gonna lie, I only saw the videos for the first time yesterday. For anyone who cares to know, I am now in the care of adults who are taking steps to get me the help that I need. To the adults that went out of their way to help me, thank you so much. And to the people who have stuck by my side during this, thank you. You seriously have no idea how much that means. If you or somebody you know is struggling with mental health and or using substances, please seek help, because it is never too late to turn your life around. Lastly, I just want to say thank you guys. I had found myself stuck in some pretty difficult situations and contracts that made me miserable, and I thought that my only way out was using. I wake up every day acknowledging how lucky I am to be alive because if I had carried on in the state that I was in, I am confident that I would not still be here. It is unfortunately too late for me to change anything in the past, and all I can do now is live a truthful life from this day forward. Thank you guys so much for your time, and thank you guys for listening.